Run TV. I run tvmag.com. Uh, it's great to talk to both of you today. I watched the movie and I enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's I don't generally like horror movies. But I've seen enough in my life, and I love the comedy of this movie, and I could understand, what you were spoofing and everything. So that was fun, and it had the whole, excuse me, had the horror and everything. So it was great. I think everybody will like it. I hope. I'm crossing my fingers for you.
Appreciate it. We'll hope so too.
Yeah. So Joe, do you go by Joe or Joseph?
Joseph.
Joseph. Okay, good. So Joseph, there are three of you credited as the writers. Who came up with the original idea for the movie?
Me.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's good. And how long did it take you to write it? And then how long did it take to film?
So I've been thinking about this movie for quite a while, but the actual genesis of it came when I decided that I wanted to make a monster movie for the modern age, because monster movies were like a staple back in the day, like King
Sure.
Kong and Godzilla and the Blob and things like that. But people say they love horror movies, but you're only seeing one type of horror movie today, which is really a slasher film. But
Right.
horror's much broader than that, and for some reason,
Sure.
these monster movies aren't being made today. And not only that, every horror movie made today kind of scars you. They're so scary. Like I think a lot of people get turned off by it.
Yeah.
And if I had started straight with like some movie with people getting ripped apart, I don't think I would have ever gotten into horror as a kid. Because I just like King Kong and things like that. So I wanted to make a movie for the new generation of kids that's a starter horror and people like you that aren't really into horror, but can appreciate it if we give them other things to think about. And so I started that in like say 2017, and I was going to make it in 2020, but COVID happened. And
Right.
2 years the industry shut down. At the end of it, I decided, okay, I can't make my $100 million version of it because Hollywood's kind of all messed up, and I decided to make the indie version of it, and that's where we are today. And so I guess that was like 7 years or 8 years for this thing to get up on screen.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I watch, even though I don't love horror movies, I do end up watching, because of the interviews, a lot of indie horror movies. And yours, I didn't know it was an indie movie for sure, because it doesn't look like it. It looks like you put a lot of money into it. So I have to say that.
All right.
Yeah, it's done on the same budget as indie horror movies. I
Wow.
mean, part is also Brandon graciously was committed to it because most indie films are shot in 20, 25 days, maybe in a room, and they just maximize all that stuff. We shot 50 days in Texas in the heat on real locations, real sets. One of the reasons it doesn't look cheap is because these are real locations. We're shooting in real football stadiums. We're shooting
Oh, great.
real high schools. We're shooting in real towns. And Brandon committed himself. He was there like for pretty much every day for the entire shoot. And he had no ego about it. He wasn't like, pay me more. He was like, I'm committed. Let's just do this and let's make the best movie we can. And when you have a partner
Right.
like that, anything can happen.
That's great. And so that actually leads me into another question I was going to ask you about. When we see the ick, how much of it is real? How much of it is CGI or
It's mostly CGI for sure.
is it?
Although when it hits somebody's body, then
Right.
maybe prosthetics. So it's a combination of CG and prosthetics. And really, the last piece of it is the actors. They have to
Mhm.
make you believe that that ick is actually in the scene, or the prosthetics and the visual effects don't mean anything. So
Right.
that look of horror, that feeling that they're actually looking at something, that has to be absolutely real. Those three things have to work together.
Okay. And it reminded me a lot of the old horror movies like The Blob and The Thing and a little Shop of Horrors, but without the music.
Yeah,
Although the music was great, but it wasn't, singing.
yeah, it's got a lot of that, and I think there's some campiness on purpose. Yeah, it's a fusion of all these sort of old tropes remixed in a new way, that comes out fused together in this new entity.
Okay. I have a spoiler question I'll ask at the end, and then I can edit it out easily.
Uh-oh, Frozen.
Oh,
Scene,
okay.
and was all that done with makeup, lighting, and hair, or was there some CGI involved?
You froze.
Special.
You froze. Ask the question again.
Oh, okay. So Brandon, you start out in this movie as a teen. Was that all done with makeup, lighting, and hair, or was there some special effects involved?
Joseph can better answer that. We were there. It was all Mina and I, but a kind of a cool process of de-aging was used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and, I started it before AI had really been taking off. It was just percolating around there, and the whole de-aging thing was being done on like YouTube skits, but no one knew if it could be projected onto a big screen and be good enough that people will believe it. So I had a decision to make. Do I cast younger actors to play this role, or do I get the older actors to just play young? And I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to risk it because I think the technology is gonna catch up by the time I get this movie out. And
Right.
it did. So I shot it with them, hoping that I would be able to do some movie magic later with new
Mhm.
technology that would be invented in 6 months. And
Right.
exactly what happened. The technology
That's
got
great.
invented, and then I finally applied it on them.
Well, it worked. I couldn't tell which it was. By the way, Brandon, I've been watching you since you were on One Life to Live as Seth.
Ah, thank you. Oh, Seth Anderson. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's in fact when I see you, I always say Seth. My brain goes Seth, and then I'm like, no, no, that's not his name. What's his real name? I have to think and look it up. It's like I don't know why your brain does that. It's like the first role you see, at least for me, this first
Sure.
role you see the person in, I tend to do that. I don't know
Well,
why.
the world of OLTL, it's a deep world.
And when you watch the show every day, like a soap
Yeah.
opera, it gets really ingrained in your brain. I think that's why so many soap actors get these people who can't tell the difference between the characters and the actors
Indeed.
and accost them in the grocery store and things like
Mhm.
that. So, but I was very happy when you became Superman. I'm a huge Superman fan, and I loved seeing you as Ray Palmer. So just sorry, a little
No, thank you. No, I
fangirl
appreciate
there.
that. I appreciate all the fan base that's been with me since then, and the all the great skills I learned, and what an opportunity it was to be on that.
Yeah, there's quite a few soap actors that went on to, I was
Yeah.
thinking about this earlier, went on to do sci-fi and fantasy and things like
Nathan Fillion, yeah.
Nathan Fillion
Mhm.
and Mark Hamill, actually.
All right, yeah.
Lots of them. There's so many of them.
Good
It's
company.
crazy. So you were born in 1979, same year I graduated from high school.
Go. All right.
I'm older.
You
So
don't
you
look
were,
you don't look that.
thank you.
Seriously.
Well,
I would never have
it's
guessed.
like Seth. See, there I went. Like Brandon, I have good genes. No CGI involved, but I am
That's right.
Zoom helps a little bit. Uh, so you must have been about the same age as your character in the movie when you started. Did you contribute at all to the accuracy of those days from the early 2000s?
No, I mean, no. As far as the high school, my high school experience was not like Hank's. It was kind of the opposite in many ways. Though I was involved in many activities, I wasn't a popular person. Um, so that was fun to kind of play act as Hank and have glory days. And I kind of used that part of my, feeling like I missed out on certain aspects of my youth was, kind of my way into Hank a little bit. Like, he got the raw end of the deal at that point. I know later in life that it gets better out of high school, but Hank is still kind of stuck in that mindset and takes him a while to go, oh, wait, you know what? 20 years have gone down and I'm still living in the past. It's time to, get with it or not.
Right. Well, so many people do that. It's like high school was the best times of their life, and then they just sort of give up. I don't know why that happened, but
Listen,
so
life is
your
challenging.
yeah, your leg is damaged in the movie and you have to limp around a lot. Was that difficult or did you have to practice that or did you get some help with that?
I mean, I toyed around with what was going to be too much or too little, and a lot of that was dependent on Joseph's input and what part of the timeline we were in. Was an old injury, new injury? The ick has damaged it. Now help keep me. How bad am I limping? And then I just got started to get creative of limping different ways, and just try to make it look interesting and believable. And it certainly added to the realism of it. It was easier to limp having a cast that I had to be annoyed with all the time.
Yeah, it was definitely believable. What did you enjoy most about playing this role, would you say?
I think embodied in Hank is kind of the spirit of the movie, and you know you gotta sometimes to make movies, period. and artistic endeavors, you have to work really hard, and it's hot, and you don't have enough time, and the odds are stacked against you. And we still make great things. Sometimes it'd be nice to not have to do it under the gun so much and under as much pressure. And I do believe we can still, create great art without having to be uh, under all the pressure. But this movie was a little bit just because of the independent nature and the scope that Joseph is reaching for in this, and my ability to rise to the occasion matched, Hank's. I had to live up to what Hank was going to do. He had to be the hero, and I had to also be, the guy making Hank come to life. So it was, life paralleled art in some ways.
It seems like Hank and Ray Palmer and a little bit of Superman, Clark Kent, have that sort of goodness and optimism. I mean, the characters are very different in many ways, but
Mhm.
you have that innate goodness, heroic virtue. What do you want to call it? Would you say, do you actively get those roles, or is that just something that comes to you because of other roles you've had, or is it part of you?
Well, I think it's part of me. I actually know it's part of me, but I didn't realize until, you know, almost 25 years in the business now, thinking about all of the films that I've done, the roles that they all have a similar through line, and that is, part of how I see the world, and my viewpoint of a lot of my characters comes out even in the bad guys sometimes, not all of them.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to see it start to peek out of some of them.
Mhm.
But it's just that it's enough of that glass half full energy that somehow the day will be saved. Somehow goodness and light, prevails because the sun comes up every day. So,
That's right. And
just keep his
sometimes
engine
it
going.
destroys monsters.
Some, you know,
So were you a horror film fan like Joseph?
I am not a horror film fan. I am a fan of people surmounting like great odds, whether
Mhm.
they be a monster or a vampire or zombie invasion. Like I like a horror movie if humans are prevailing or we've really like investigated something that is brought to another layer because of the horrific aspect of it.
Mhm.
Because I want to see characters, not just, fancy
Special
stuff
effects.
on screen. I want to go on a journey with the character and care about the journey. So if it has that, which a lot of horror comedy does, that's usually where my my viewing goes.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think in the 60s when I was a kid, we watched those Godzilla movies and things like that. Those were fun and they didn't have bad endings usually. And then the 70s, they started doing things like Rosemary's Baby and The
Mm.
Omen and all these depressing ones that had bad endings. And I think that's kind of when I stopped
Mm.
watching them. And then they got the slasher ones. I'm like, okay, never.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I understand completely. All right. Thanks so much, you guys. I really appreciate you talking to me today. I'm very happy to get to talk to both of you.
You're
Thank you,
very
Suzanne.
welcome. We appreciate you.
Thank you. See you later.